My name is Jeff Morgan. I'm from Dallas, Texas. The issue I am going to speak on today pertains to what would you say to any child who was facing their parents' divorce today? And the interesting thing about this question is that it was posed to 70 adult children of divorce. 70 children who have gone through this whole process of divorce where their parents divorced, and post-divorce, this is sometimes 10, 15, 20, even 30 years later, these people are being asked, if somebody came up to you today and you had some advice to give to the children whose parents were getting divorced, what would that be? And I think it's very important that we hear from the actual people who've gone through the issue of divorce. We have some people like these divorce attorneys, and I have the testimony of one, Charlotte Bradshaw from the Texas Anti-Family Lawless Foundation, getting up there pontificating before a House committee, the Juvenile Justice and Family Issues Committee, telling us that we need to wrap up a divorce. We need to wrap it up quickly so the kids can get on with their lives.
It's going to keep cases on the docket longer of people who want to get their divorce done so that they can have closure and move on, especially the ones who have children, which are the ones that have to wait.
Well, she's really disconnected from what kids are going through. And once again, I will start to read some of these responses from adults who have gone through this as children. What would they tell the children today whose parents were going through divorce? One person says this to the kids, I would say this, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. People do not understand that when parents go through divorce, or they try to minimize it anyways, that when parents go through divorce, often it's the kids who start to blame themselves. What did I do? Maybe there's some reason that daddy doesn't like me and that's why he left. Maybe there's something that I did that made mommy mad and that's why she left. Kids internalize these things, and especially if you're the oldest child, that may very well be the case. Another person writes this, I really don't know what I would say to the children. Is there anything you really can't say? But the myth in society today is that children are resistant. Children just want their parents to be happy. Children are happy if their parents are happy. This is really a perverse and immoral, and I would say even wicked philosophy that we have, that somehow children are responsible for their parents' happiness. It just reverses the entire order of things. Parents should be more concerned about their children rather than telling children that they're responsible for their parents' happiness. One person writes this, for the children, I would just try to be there for them. I really don't know what to say. And once again, this is from an adult child of divorce. Another person writes this, for kids dealing with divorce, it's okay to be mad about it. An injustice was committed against you. Your parents had the responsibility to protect you, and they failed. They owe you an apology. Now, wait a minute. I thought that this was a no-fault divorce society and that we're supposed to get divorced and everybody gets along and the kids are going to be just fine. Everybody's going to be fine. It's going to be hunky-dory. The kids will be happy because the parents are happy. And this person says, an injustice has been committed against you. It is okay for you to be mad about this. Another person writes this, what to say to the children? I really have no clue. This is hell. This is hell. Your family is forever broken. So two parents who are going to find a solution, a forever solution to what may just be a temporary problem, are going to put their children through hell on earth. How, as a child, do you deal with that? A child should never have to deal with that. I just have no words. Again, this is so contrary to the philosophy and the little trite sayings of the divorce attorneys who want to say, well, kids just need to get on with their lives. We need to wrap up divorce in a hurry so that kids can get on with their lives. So the kids can get on with their hell? Is that what these divorce attorneys are saying? And yet, these divorce attorneys will always talk about the best interest of the child as they talk about, we need to give parents the right to divorce each other. To the children, I would say this, I'd stay close to God. Surround yourself with friends and family who know the truth and are not afraid to tell you what that is. Know that the divorce is not your fault in any way. And when the era of no-fault divorce, the same attorney who basically said that we need to wrap up divorce for the sake of the kids so the kids can get on with their lives, also said that judges do not like to assign blame during divorce. Somehow judges would rather lie about who was at fault and what took place rather than tell the kids the truth.
Most of the time, if you have a divorce trial and there has been adultery or cruel treatment, the courts don't grant it on that ground because they don't want that shown to the children.
And yet, there is the answer to the children here is surround yourself with people who know the truth and are not afraid to tell you what it is. So we have a system in the state of Texas that lies to kids and basically tries to either blame nobody or blame everybody. And regardless of the fact, the kids are the ones who often feel at fault. But this is our divorce system in Texas. And remember, this is not that big of an issue for us to solve. No, no, no. Divorce is just a private matter. It doesn't affect kids. It doesn't affect society. It doesn't affect that maybe some kids will have identity issues for the rest of their lives. The kids will drop out of school. That if you may have a daughter who is more susceptible to getting pregnant outside of marriage by a large factor, you may have a son who is involved in gang activity. Both children are more susceptible to dropping out of high school, to never going to college, to never even getting in the top 20% of the wealth bracket, which is not a whole lot, to be quite honest with you. Kids are supposed to suck it up and just put on a happy face, happy, happy. If the parents are happy, the kids will be happy. What a lie has been sold to our society at the expense of our children and, by the way, our grandchildren, because divorce is such a private affair. It doesn't affect our grandchildren. It goes against the research that we have. Your divorce will affect your grandchildren. So if you two parents or one of you is thinking about getting divorced or forcing divorce on your spouse, remember this: you are inflicting a grievous sin and injustice not only on your children but on your grandchildren. As for the children, I have told such children that they may consider my home a refuge. I would beg parents, do not do it. And I have done so. Another person says this: 10 years ago, someone made the mistake of asking me this question in a very public place. What would you say to children whose parents are divorcing? Between sobs, this is what I told the man to those kids. Please tell them it is not your fault. I have had to face this question. It is hard for me because I cannot promise the children healing. I cannot promise the children healing. But we've got to wrap it up in a hurry so the children can get on with their lives. This adult, former child of divorce, I cannot promise the children healing. I just say, if you can't tell your parents the truth, that it hurts and that they need to work it out. Parents, if you are thinking about divorcing, or if one of you is thinking about divorcing, the reality is you need to think about working it out. Tell them that they can't go on to any new relationships until they are grown. And what has also been talked about in this book, and this is Layla Miller's book, The Primal Loss, the now adult children of divorce speak out. Many of these children have talked about for years and years and years. They still hope that their parents would get back together. Sometimes that hope was crushed only when one of them died. I would tell the children that even though they are children, they have a voice and should say loud and clear what they are feeling. I would tell them be honest and tell their parents they don't want them to get divorced. You mean children aren't happy when their parents get divorced? Because of course the children must be concerned only about the parents' happiness. Tell your parents you don't want them to get divorced. They should tell another adult or their priest asking them to please come and help their parents. Children are a part of the family too, and I think too often children feel silenced and that they have no voice. Children have no voice. But the divorce attorneys of Texas, including Charla Bradshaw, will say that we need to wrap things up so that the children can get on with their lives. Really, Charla? Really, Texas Anti-Family Law Foundation? Children are scared to say anything because they've already seen what happens when someone stops loving another person. They push them away and out of their lives. I wonder if these children fear that the same thing will happen to them. Yet another person says what other people have said. Tell the kids, it is not your fault. There are many, many people in the world who understand what you're going through. Children, it is not your fault. To the children, your feelings are valid regardless of the propaganda your parents tell you. And I would add society, and of course I would add the divorce attorneys. You are capable of healing because God will walk through you. Try to forgive your parents, even if it means that every day you have to forgive them. What a burden, parents, you are putting upon your children to make them have to forgive you every single day. Even if you have to forgive over and over, be bold and express your feelings with your parents. They need to know how you feel. Demand their time and attention, even if it's inconvenient for them to give it. You are not deserving of the neglect as a result of their choices. One person says this: I would hug the children. I would try to show them to trust in God. I would tell them that God still loves them. And this is an issue that people don't talk about. When parents get divorced, children often feel that somehow God has abandoned them, that maybe God himself is not good. Why would God let this happen? This pain happen to them? Why would God let their family be destroyed and nobody's doing anything? Oh, but we need to wrap things up so that children can move on with their lives. Children are resilient. Children are happy when their parents are happy. What a lie this society has been feeding us. I would tell them that God still loves them even if they feel the rejection of parents' love. I want them to know that it will be painful, but they will get through it. To the children, I would say this: pray for your parents and the healing of their marriage. What? The children just should not be happy? That the parents are going to be happy by getting a divorce and moving on and finding a new wife or husband or whatever the case may be? I thought they were supposed to be happy. Pray for your parents and the healing of their marriage. Know that this is not your fault. One final thought. Thinking through these questions has been nice. I noticed that when typing out most of my responses, I felt angry. I think my anger is directed more at the hypothetical parents who are considering divorce than at my parents. There will always be a part of me that wonders why the divorce happened. There will always be a part of me that wonders why the divorce happened. But I love my parents and I will always give them the best, even if I didn't receive theirs in this particular instance. Parents, you are lying to yourself if you think that you are doing something good for your children by getting a divorce and running off with somebody else. You are lying and you are being abusive to your children. I'm sorry, that's the plain fact. I have a pretty good relationship with my parents, but it's more of a shallow relationship, much more shallow, rather than one where we can talk about deep things. I wish that were different. Another person says this: I would tell those children to find someone to talk to. Find someone they feel safe with and grieve with them, and then do so. I would tell them not to hold their feelings on the inside, because the feelings could build to an unbearable level like they did for me. To the kids, I would say, I am sorry. It's okay to be sad and confused. It's okay to change your mind about how you feel. I would like to explain redemptive suffering and let them know that it's okay to suffer and to acknowledge that suffering. Suffering and divorce? What are you talking about? We need to wrap things up, according to Charlotte Bradshaw of the Texas Anti-Family Law Foundation. We need to hurry up and wrap things up so that the kids can get on with their lives. I would like to explain to you about redemptive suffering and let them know that it is okay to suffer. To the children, I would say this: talk to your parents, tell them how you feel, tell them how much your family means to you, and beg them, please try harder. I would say to the child facing his parents' divorce, God is there for you even in your darkest moments. Trust him. If you focus on him, there will come a time when you can see what beauty he can bring out of the greatest pain in your life that you endure. And you are not alone in going through difficult situations. Many others have been through similar difficulties. The difficulties can prepare you for a future and make you stronger. Wow. And children are supposed to be happy when their parents divorce, according to the Texas Anti-Family Law Foundation and their attorneys, the divorce attorneys who profit off of the destruction of the family. I will continue this in an upcoming video. Thank you.